Despite being late to the party, Mimi is everywhere, with her deck gaining more representation than Warriors, Bolt Condor, and Psychics. Mimi has some alright skills, but the star of the show is Seahorse Carrier, a card with several key advantages over similar monsters like Currybot and Sports Dragons. First, it works with any vanilla light Aqua, allowing you to run more targets and increase the consistency of the play. Even more importantly, it can use the effect even when you have other monsters on field, allowing you to set up fields with multiple boss monsters as early as your first turn, or even use the effect multiple times in one turn when drawing multiple copies. Aqua decks are currently broken down into 3 major categories. Disco Fever is a mistranslated skill that actually provides 700 attack to any number of light Aquas with total levels 10 or less. This skill allows Dion Keto to beat over opposing Dragias, or lets multiple low-level monsters reach 1900 or 2100 attack for aggressive pushes. The skill does lock out your 2 tribute slots, but Torna is another out to Dragias, and Gravity Press Dragon can bring it down to 1800, low enough for the vanilla monsters to win. Note that both of these cards require a discard, offering another way to take advantage of Seahorse Carrier's effect. The other highlight is Triple Threat Thunder, a clean out to any attack position monster in the game. In my testing, several games that seemed lost were turned around by a lucky Thunder, allowing me to find lethal out of nowhere. Alternatively, some players use Boogie Master Draw, which adds Boogie Master and Seahorse Carrier to your hand. With Seahorse Carrier's effect, this is functionally very similar to Legend Draw. We gain access to the standard suite of aggro boss monsters, and Dion Keto can offset the cost of Prima Gatarna. It's also worth noting that Rice Terror Secure is much better when played alongside more Aqua cards, though both Dragias and 7-Zone Magician have 1500 defense, requiring a tribute monster to defeat either way. It should see value in matchups like Psychic, allowing weaker monsters to deal with the 0 defense boss monsters and ignore Severing Psychic Wall. Lastly, some players are cutting the Boogie Master entirely, instead putting a small Aqua engine into already established aggro decks. This provides a higher ceiling to the deck and more consistent double boss boards, but a weaker average board state, due to the lack of 1500 vanilla monsters to pair alongside them. With that, let's hop into the games. Alright, so we open up with a set 4 and pass, including the Triple Threat Thunder. That's going to come in and help us later. The opponent also decides to go ahead and set 4, but we draw into a Torna, meaning we are going to be able to beat over at least one monster and get in for some damage. We bring out Dion Keto as well, and then summon out a normal monster so that we are able to activate Disco Fever. This boosts Dion Keto to 3200 attack and allows us to deal some additional damage. Lastly, we heal on up, and then head into the battle phase, clearing out their board. And they have a Thunder the Thunder of their own to lower out Dion Keto. They activate the skill to recycle their Dion Keto and a Seahorse Carrier, and then heal up with the skill. They tribute summon a Dragias and are going to use that to defeat both of our boss monsters. However, we do have the set Triple Threat Thunder, so all we need to do is draw 2 Aqua monsters, and we are able to reduce Dragias to 0. We draw a Seahorse Carrier and summon Skull. We use Seahorse Carrier to revive Kanan, bring out reduce Dragias all the way down to 0, and then tribute off the Seahorse Carrier for summon Skull. This means we now have lethal on board. We use Disco Fever to boost both of our Kanans up to 2100, and we get in for game. The opponent has a Phantom Bind, but that is not going to be able to stop us. We attack with the second Kanan, and they even have a second Phantom Bind, but it is still not enough. Alright, so next up we have a Boogie Master draw replay, and we have the opponent set 3 and pass. We bring out a Dragias and attempt to clear out the opponent's board. However, they are running a Beetle deck, which means our Lamoon is not able to take out the Ancient Turtle Protector. We head back into the opponent's turn, and they are able to bring out a 7-Zone Magician capable of beating over our Dragias. But that's not all. They tribute offer a Summoned Skull, and this is a pretty threatening looking board. With 2 boss monsters, we're going to need some good cards in order to overcome the deficit. However, we have the Boogie Master draw, and we use it. And then we draw into 2 Boogie Masters and 2 Seahorse Carriers. This means despite having only 2 low-level monsters in hand, we are able to turn that into 4 low levels and bring out 2 bosses of our own, Dion Keto and Prima Gatarna. We'll also clear out the rest of our hand afterwards by using Dion Keto's Mega Makeover to regain 1000 life points. Then Prima Gatarna will use those life points that we just gained to power up our monsters. With the power of 2 Seahorse carriers, we were able to turn a hand that would be terrible in any other deck into a winning play. Unfortunately, it's not done yet. The opponent goes ahead and brings out 2 Currybots before tributing 4 Dragias. Luckily though, Dragias is at 2500, so they aren't able to take out our Dion Keto. Going into the next turn, we draw Triple Threat Thunder, and this means alongside the 2 low-level Aquas, Dragias is going to be reduced to 0. We also have a Summon Skull, and after that, the opponent concedes. So for our last game, we have an aggro mirror match. My opponent summons out 2 1500 beaters, sets a monster, and ends their turn. I think this is a bad play, and you're about to see why. I have a Seahorse Carrier and a vanilla Aqua in my hand. This means, with the power of Seahorse Carrier's effect, I'm able to bring out both Dragias and 7-Zone Magician on turn 1. A feat basically no other deck is going to be capable of doing. Karibo and the Sports Dragons both need monsters in the discard pile to use that effect, so we just got a bonus card. This results in the opponent going all the way down to 3500 on the first turn. They go ahead and summon some monsters, and a Music Performer is definitely an interesting pick. They don't end up using the effect though, instead opting to bring out a 7-Zone Magician. Elemental Road activates, boosting their 7-Zone Magician to 3300. However, they aren't able to beat our own 7-Zone Magician, and that means when we draw, we are in a great spot. We see another Seahorse Carrier, and that means we are able to bring out a 7-Zone Magician and then summon Kanan for essentially free, keeping the third 7-Zone Magician and a Dory Auto in hand for later. We swing over the 7-Zone Magician, attack into that face down monster, and clear out the game on turn 4.